All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about something absolutely critical for modern development, building a fortress for your container images. We're going to look at Harbor, a project that is basically the Fort Knox for your entire container ecosystem. So your team is all in on containers, right? That's awesome. Your apps are all nicely packaged, they're portable, they're ready to go. But let me ask you a serious question. As you start to scale up, do you really know what's going on with all those container images? Are they secure? And more importantly, who's actually in control of them? And this right here, this brings us to what I like to call the container chaos problem. It's something a ton of growing teams run into. What starts out as this really simple, elegant solution it can quickly spiral into a total management nightmare. You know how it is. As you create more and more images, the questions just start piling up. Where are we even supposed to store all of these things? How do we stop just anyone from pulling a sensitive production image? And the big one, are these images secretly packed with vulnerabilities? This isn't just theory. Imagine a developer accidentally pushes an image with a brand new critical vulnerability straight to production just because there were no checks in place. That is exactly the kind of chaos we're talking about. But what if there was a simple, powerful solution designed to answer all those questions? Well, there is. So let's meet the hero of our story today, Harbor. Okay, so let's get the official textbook definition out of the way. Harbor is an open-source, trusted, cloud-native registry project that stores, signs, and scans content. Now, the most important part of that sentence is that it extends the basic open-source Docker registry with features that big operations and businesses desperately need. But look, in plain English, just think of Harbor as a secure, private, and really smart home for all of your container images. And it's not just images. It also handles other stuff like Helm charts. It becomes your single source of truth for all your cloud-native artifacts. So what really makes Harbor such a big deal? Let's talk about its superpowers, which honestly boil down to two incredibly important things: ironclad security and granular control. Here's a super important question for any team that cares about security. How do you physically prevent a container image with a known high-severity vulnerability from ever making it into your production environment? Well, Harbor gives you this multi-layered security shield to do exactly that. First up, vulnerability scanning. This isn't just some report you get later. You can set policies to physically block a deployment if a critical vulnerability is found. It's an automated gatekeeper. Second, it uses a tool called Notary to cryptographically sign your images. This is huge because it guarantees that the image running in production is the exact one the developer built. No tampering, no malicious code injected. Then you get powerful role-based access control, so you can decide precisely who can pull or push which images. And finally, everything is logged. Every single action is audited, which is an absolute must-have for compliance and security reviews. You know, when you put a basic registry side by side with Harbor, wow, the difference is just night and day. A basic registry, it just stores images. That's pretty much it. But Harbor takes that basic foundation and builds an entire skyscraper on top of it. You get all that security we just talked about, plus things like policy-based replication to sync images across data centers, and even garbage collection to clean up old junk and save you space. It's truly enterprise-grade. Now, with all these amazing enterprise-grade features, you might be thinking this is some obscure niche tool, right? Nope, not even close. The reality is, Harbor is a major player in the cloud-native world, with some serious street cred. Here is the key thing you need to know. Harbor is a graduated project hosted by the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, the CNCF. This is the very same foundation that looks after Kubernetes, Prometheus, and all the other cornerstone projects of modern infrastructure. That tells you Harbor is stable, it's well-governed, and it is here to stay. And it's not just the CNCF that loves it, the community does too. We're talking over 28,000 stars on GitHub. That is a massive vote of confidence from developers and ops teams all over the world who are relying on this thing every single day. And if you take a quick peek under the hood, you can see it's built on a really solid modern foundation. It's mostly written in Go, the language of the cloud, with a healthy dose of TypeScript for the user interface. This is a serious piece of software engineering built for performance and reliability. All right, so I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds awesome, but it's got to be a total nightmare to set up, right? Well, you would be surprised. It's actually incredibly easy. Honestly, the process is super straightforward. All you really need is a Linux machine with Docker and Docker Compose installed. From there, you just download the latest release, run a little install script, and bring the whole thing up with a single compose command. And hey, if you're running on Kubernetes, it's even easier. There's an official Helm chart that basically handles everything for you. So let's just wrap it up with this one thought. As you think about your own development pipeline, your security posture, and your plans to scale, just ask yourself this. Is a secure, private, feature-packed registry the one critical tool that your team is missing to finally go from container chaos to container control? Harbor just might be your answer.